Welcome to Mainland, your local regional television station. I'm Graham O'Brien and some of the stories coming up in today's news. Sailing, singing, safety and more. Nelson's Race Unity Day, held in Victory Park on the weekend, was once again a sunny, colourful and tasteful experience to celebrate Nelson and New Zealand's growing diversity of people and cultures. The event was well attended by Nelsonians who were keen to sample some traditional foods. However, it was not only the foods of other cultures that were on show, but an array of performances from traditional music and songs through to dance. I caught up with Dame Susan Devoy, Race Relations Commissioner, who spoke about the Unity Day and some of the issues around helping our refugees to integrate into New Zealand society. Dame Susan Devoy, it's your first time to the Nelson Race Unity Day. What do you think so far?
Oh, I think it's fantastic. I hear it's a very successful event, and all over the country other multicultural councils are running these events. So Leicester's in Tauranga today, I'm in Nelson, and they carry on, I think, from, for the next couple of months. It's just wonderful, isn't it? Nelson's obviously changed, like the rest of New Zealand actually, and Nelson seems to have really embraced diversity, if this is any example to go by.
Recently in an immigration conference you said that we had to do more for refugees. Do you think that'll be backing to double the quota campaign that's going on at the moment and coming up in Parliament?
Well, that's a good question because the ministers are making that decision now, so there's lots of people, including myself, that have been called to doubling the quota. Nelson has a really fantastic reputation for the welcome and support it gives to refugees, but if we increase the quota, we need to make sure that we increase the support because it's not easy, is it? But it's our responsibility as a global citizen, and what I've really liked about Nelson is seeing the welcome you give to refugees in different communities, and I think we can do more in the country.
Funding's a good question because a lot is taken on by the community as volunteer language tutors, volunteer driver tutors. Do you think there's able to be more funds to put into the refugees?
Well, I think governments can find money for just about everything if they want to, and I think we need to make it clear, and people have, that with the increase, or not even with the increase in quota, we need to keep increasing the support that we give to refugees so they can have the best start. We know it takes a little longer to get established and to integrate into New Zealand society, and who wouldn't, given where they've come from. But we also see the contribution they make to communities and to New Zealand as a whole, and so I hope that we can support the volunteers as well that do that, because that's really important.
Future events for Nelson's revamped Trafalgar Centre look to kick off as early as next month with what Council describes as a partial reopening on the 2nd of April with the Nelson Giants basketball game. However, anyone looking at the current development may be wondering if Council is overly optimistic for being anywhere near ready for this booking, as changes from the original plans could be behind the reason why this redevelopment has seemingly been slowed down, so that the reopening deadline originally set for March, just last November, now looks to be more months away. In a press release last week, Council have stated that as part of the earthquake strengthening and redevelopment work at the Trafalgar Centre, several changes have now been made to ensure the revamped building and grounds are more sustainable. Council is saying that everything is progressing well as they work towards a partial reopening of the Trafalgar Centre's main stadium only for the Nelson Giants basketball game on April the 2nd. It will be interesting for those Nelson ratepayers who have been following the Trafalgar Centre changes to compare the original designs approved by Council for the redevelopment to the final product, which we will hope to see sometime this year. Another devastating plant pest entering Kiwi farms among imported fodder crop seeds, and New Zealand First MP for Nelson, Richard Prosser, said that in 2013, black grass seeds were found within the imported pasture seeds. Even the kiwi fruit disease PSA is widely thought to have entered New Zealand due to non-testing of imported pollen. He said farmers needed to ask Minister Guy where the additional spending on biosecurity is from National's biosecurity level or holiday tax, given it was really a dollar-for-dollar replacement for biosecurity funding cuts. Chrissy Small spoke to former MPI Minister Damien O'Connor about biosecurity breaches when she caught up with him last month.
There is some slips going on in biosecurity, Damien, and this is a great worry because you can see the costs already with moths and insects that have come in, at what it's cost every person in this country, and it can cost more, especially when you get mosquitoes carrying bad diseases.
Correct. Look, the first thing the government did in its first budget, National did, was cut biosecurity funding. A stupid and ridiculous thing to do. Since that time they've been playing catch up. More money has gone back in, but it hasn't kept pace with the level of imports into this country. And so what they've got now is a regime that, takes an educated guess, checks a few things, and on that basis tries to secure our borders. I've always believed, and Labor and government doubled the funding for biosecurity. National's put a bit more extra in, but it hasn't matched the growth of our economy or the growth of imports. And so we are at risk. And in fact, much of our economy depends upon the fact that we are mostly disease-free in terms of the food we export and a lot of the people who come in here. It protects our forests, all our native flora and fauna. The gaps are there, and we just have to keep our fingers crossed that we don't have a major incursion. But National haven't done a good job in this area. We've been exposed to fruit flies. There was a tower fly the other day. They hope none of them got out. The brown marmorated stink bug is a terrible pest, and we're seeing more and more containers come in and other goods that aren't properly checked. We're at danger, and the government should be doing more in this area.
Now, I've been told that one container actually gets fully checked per month at the wharf. Now, that's just anecdotal, so I can't say that's true, but I was assured that that's the truth of it. That's got to be of concern.
It is. I mean, the reality is that only a very small portion gets sample tested and checked. They run a model calculating, the risk, where it's come from. But the reality is that unless we check them all, we can't absolutely guarantee that something will come in. And if you've squeezed funding and you're doing less of it, then the risk increases dramatically. If we have a major incursion that affects our forestry or our horticulture, then we could cripple our economy very, very quickly. So we've got to make sure that central government's doing all those things right so that we can have a prosperous future.
We hope to interview National MP for Nelson, Nick Smith, early next month to ask him about this and other issues. In response to community concerns about the safety of children walking and biking to and from school, the Tasman District Council is now proposing to install variable school speed signs for Mochipipi, Hope and Ranzu schools. After community feeling is that more needs to be done to keep children safe on their way to and from school. Engineering Services Committee Chairman Trevor Norris said the council will talk to the 3 schools before installing variable speed zone signs. The flashing signs will signal to motorists to slow down at times when children are entering and leaving school. Ranzu School is hoping to trial a Kia crossing system in the meantime to help children safely cross the road at the beginning and end of school. He said council will also discuss the installation of static 40 when children present signs at another 4 Tasman schools. He said only 3 of the 10 highest priority schools meet the New Zealand Transport Authority criteria for 40 km/h variable school speed zone, which is why TDC have opted for static signs around other schools. The council has already placed the 40 when children present overlays on Appleby School's large signs after discussions with the school. Better standard school warning signs will also be installed at Central Tākaka, Dovedale and Natamoti schools. Council aims to have new signs in place by the start of Term 4 in October this year. Some of the static signs are likely to be in place earlier. Nelson turned on the perfect weather for what is effectively the national titles for the Open BIC Junior Sailing Boat competition. The New Zealand Open Cup, which took place on the water this weekend with young sailors from around the country, including 8 from Nelson, taking part in the competition. Although a relatively new addition to competitive sailing in New Zealand, the Junior Sailing Regatta is a great way for talented young sailors to experience higher-end competition in the New Zealand sailing scene. In what could be seen as a coup, sailing celebrity parent Sir Russell Coutts of America's Cup fame attended the weekend's regatta event as a spectator due to his son taking part. The weekend's competition was based around the sailing skiff that Kiwis are beginning to see more and more of around New Zealand due to its modern look, speed and popularity with young sailors in the 7 to 17 age group. Mainland News was there on Sunday to catch a bit of the inner harbour action with thrills and spills and the competition skiff racing taking place close to the shore and further out by Shore Island. The larger two sailing boats were also taking advantage of the conditions for racing. Even to the unpractised eye, the tensions on the water were obvious as the competitors tussled for the lead position as the racing prepared to start. The junior sailing regatta started on Friday and finished on Sunday afternoon. Mainland News was unable to get any confirmation on the regatta's racing results at the time of going to air. After the break, we'll bring you the latest weather update and some events and happenings coming up from around the region.
We're the team at JCar, right here in Nelson, 120 Hardy Street. Our shop is full of electronic items,
including security alarm systems, electronic components,
solar and power,
electronics, toys,
sound systems, cables and much, much more. JCar.
120 Hardy Street, Nelson.
World War I was a defining period in our history, impacting greatly on the lives of people from the Nelson province. Memories of the First World War is an exhibition which will be displayed in a number of regional venues and is currently on at the Nelson Provincial Museum.
Why would you want to pay as much as $1,000 for a single bed mattress when you can buy a high quality locally made mattress like this for as little as $220? And a queen size mattress could cost you in excess of $3,000, but at Nelson Beds you could have a mattress like this as low as $425. So why would you go out and spend a fortune on your child's bedroom when you can come to Nelson Beds and buy a complete single mattress and base set, a 7-drawer Scotch chest, a headboard and a 3-drawer bedside cabinet for as little as $979? So call and discuss our custom manufacturing options and local after sales service at Nelson Beds, Nelson's only bedding manufacturer.
Victory 60 Plus is on Tuesdays at 1:30 through to 3:30 p.m. at 238 Upper Vanguard Street. You can join in for cards, games and a cuppa.
Sit and Be Fit is on at the Victory Community Centre Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. at the Victory Community Church, 238 Upper Vanguard Street. School terms only. Fun while you get fitter, work at your level. On behalf of the team here at Mainland Television News, thank you for joining us and we'll bring you the latest news and events from around the region again tomorrow.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.
G'day, it's your old mate the Mad Butcher and you're watching Mainland TV.
Welcome to Smugglers Pub and Cafe, open 7 days a week with free parking all day. Our lunch menus have that old-fashioned flavour where we treat you like treasure with the food you'll savour.
We cater for children, grannies and granddads too, with special rates and privileges given to the elderly lunchtime crew. Our staff are friendly and kind and want to see you all come back time after time.
Daytime or evening, it doesn't matter. Give us a call on 546 4084 and we'll be happy to spoil ya.
Nelson Tire Center. Great prices, great service. Buy your own Bryford trailer. All types, all sizes. See Colin Douglas for your tires and batteries.
Are you looking for a scooter, walker, wheelchair, baby seats or pushchairs? Then come in and see the Nelson Region Specialist at Mobility for You, 269 Queen Street, Richmond, opposite the library. We have a huge selection of scooters, walkers, wheelchairs and accessories, along with a free booklet guide. We also provide a breakdown service if you ever get a puncture or a flat battery. We have fully equipped service vans to rescue you. Hi, I'm Robin Jordan and I invite you to call in and see the friendly team at Mobility for You, 269 Queen Street, Richmond, opposite the library.
World War I was a defining period in our history, impacting greatly on the lives of people from the Nelson province. Memories of the First World War is an exhibition which will be displayed in a number of regional venues and is currently on at the Nelson Provincial Museum.